Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you in to the world of professional wrestling. I'm Keeney and I'm joined by Fisher.
Hello, guys.
And this is our AEW review of the last week on podcast format and on YouTube. So if you're not following us on YouTube, subscribe, just search Recharge Wrestling. And look out for us on all of your podcast platforms. I think you just search Recharge Wrestling in there. Otherwise, follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. We always tweet out the links to all of our content, so you can find us on there. I guess let's just get into AEW. No news this week after last week's crazy amount of chaos going on. A bit more of a normal week in AEW. Bit of a reset week, I would say. In general, we'll kick off with Rampage from last Friday, and we had a lot of matches in the Grand Slam tournament. We had the opener on Rampage here, Sammy Guevara against Darby Allin. What did you make of this match?
Yeah, it was okay. I was actually quite surprised at the result for this. I didn't expect Sammy to win, to be honest. The match was decent enough. Obviously, it had the involvement of Ty Mello, as she's now known.
That's what I had him away. It kind of ruins his matches, Sammy, because he's really good worker, and then in the end, just have Anna Jay and Ty Conti run out.
A lot of people. I've seen a lot of criticism of Sammy and that on AEW recently. Just like, what's the point in this guy anymore? He's not. Like, he's always pushed into positions, and then people have definitely got off him.
Yeah.
And Darby's very popular, so yeah, I was a little bit surprised they went with this, but the match was okay. Darby hitting his spine on a skateboard at one point was a bit of a mad spot, but he always does something crazy.
He does.
And the match was.
I was going to say Darby's gone a bit off the boil, hasn't he? He's not.
Yeah, he's not.
I remember last time he had a decent win under his belt. He's just, when he has big matches, he tends to not win them.
Yeah.
So he was at one point a pillar of AEW. He doesn't feel like anyone near the title picture, in my opinion. Even though he's in this tournament, he doesn't feel like someone who I'm gonna have in an AEW title match anytime soon.
No, neither. I don't think either of them should have been really in there. I think we said last week there were other people they could have put in.
They could
a bit fresher and a bit.
But I think they set up the semi-finals to be Jericho Appreciation Society against Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah,
that's what they did.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why Sammy won there, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, just annoyed, and we'll get onto that a bit later on. But Ty and Anna Jay getting involved just does my nut in.
Yeah, same.
We had Samoa Joe come out and interrupted by Nice, Woods, and Sterling. And they have a match for the whatever title Samoa Joe has, TV Championship in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Against Josh Woods, which I think is next week. So yeah, I think it's on Rampage actually tomorrow night. So Josh Woods v Samoa Joe. Yeah. Whoever Josh Woods is, he's what a match.
Yeah, I've not really seen. Obviously, he's been on TV a few times, but I've never really seen him much before, so I don't really know.
No, Serena Deeb beat Madison Rain. Don't have much on this one either. But
no, I literally just put match was okay. Serena won by tap out.
Yep. No one. Again, a promo from Powerhouse Hobbs, but pretty. Nothing spectacular. He said here, just he beat Ricky Starks and he's going to open the Book of Hobbs, whatever that means. But yeah, nothing groundbreaking from Hobbs. And the main event was a Ring of Honor World Title match, which was actually really good. Claudio Castagnoli beating Dax Harwood.
That was a real
what
banger.
You'd expect to be a banger.
And
actually,
just a really physical type match.
And a win via a sharpshooter and a tap out from Dax.
Yeah.
An interesting finish. Sharpshooters don't finish matches very often nowadays.
No, they don't really, unless it's Natalia, I think maybe. But other than that,
even Natalia doesn't win.
No, not often. If she does win, it's usually by that.
Yeah, and that was Rampage. Unless you have anything else from Rampage?
No, it's honestly it's only worth talking about for 5 minutes normally.
Yeah. Dynamite. So we got the semi-final match to kick off the show: Jon Moxley and Sammy Guevara And just one thing I liked about this Dynamite was they bookended it with the two semi-final matches for the world title. Just made the world title seem important.
Yeah, it was big time. It was.
I think it's what they needed. I think I criticised the tournament last week, and I'm still not particularly fussed on the tournament, but they have just moved on quickly. They've just given us banger after banger, which AW do often give us banger matches. And
it's what they're best at, when they can just pull out a match between two good wrestlers and just let them wrestle.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good match again, Moxley and Guevara. But again, for the second time in 5 minutes, ruined by Jay and Conti coming out. Just when they kind of just roll my eyes, I was just, oh God, again, like just no interest in those two coming out, getting involved in world title.
Yeah, this one as well. The result I thought was fairly obvious. You're not going to have Mox lose here. No. There was some good action. Took a while to get going, I thought, but once it did get going, it was quite good. But yeah, we got the low blow, we got everything you expect. But the finish was good. It was a counter. Sammy went for the GTS, and then it was countered into a paradigm shift. Really smoothly. That was good. Yeah,
really good. And nice to see Moxley in the title match again. Maybe he'll win a belt for a third time in like 3 weeks, or maybe he won't. Feel sorry for Moxley. I feel like he should just be champion. But
yeah, they should probably have not done the move.
Yeah, they could have just given the belt to Moxley. They could have been like, well, you've been champion twice.
Yeah, they could have.
So then next up, we had MJF.
Yep.
Come out, cut another decent promo here. A lot of digs at the crowd, quite cheap heat from MJF, which I feel like he's a bit better than that. I know he does do it a lot, but this seemed a bit excessive. His digs at the crowd just kept going on at them, which is successful to a degree, but I'm not from Albany, so I don't really care about his digs at the crowd, but I guess it gets the people booing him, which I guess maybe he needed, because he actually has got a relative amount of cheers since his return.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. People
MJF.
Love him, especially with sort of him coming out of the Punk feud, and now what's happened to Punk. I think it's made him even more popular almost.
It has, yeah. And then he explains All Out and the association with Stokely Hathaway.
Yeah, I'm glad this guy explained, because it was kind of left last week.
Yeah, and it's essentially a faction, a stable for hire, and he just got them to do his bidding for him, which I think is probably the right way to go. Yeah. I don't think you need a stable led by MJF. I might have said differently last week, actually. I can't remember my take last week, but that's how I felt watching this week. And then we got them come out, the Firm, as they're called.
Yes.
It's a weird collection of wrestlers, isn't it?
It is a bit random. Stokely sort of called himself a friend. He wasn't like, I'm not a publicist, I'm not a manager or whatever. And then he just kind of goes through all the guys and talks about them and says what they want to do, what their aims are, which is fine.
And they all mention titles as well, which is good, because they're all after gold. I mean, there's enough belts going around in AEW that
absolutely
everyone should be after a belt. If not after a belt, you're mad in AEW, because there's like 100 of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just I guess it's good to get it explained, but I'm not particularly interested in this Firm already. It's like they're fairly new as a group, and although I think they said they're not actually a group, are they? They only like team up when they're hired to team up, but you're not going to see them together. So I don't really know what to make of this.
No, I guess we just wait and see.
Yeah, but like I say, good to get it confirmed and explained. Then we had Jungle Boy v Jay Lethal. Again, nothing particularly special about this one either. Just Jungle Boy beat Jay Lethal in another.
Yeah, the match was okay. There was a good bit from Lethal where he did a tope and then got an elbow drop. He got near fall from that. Jungle Boy recovered and then put the submission in, and eventually Jay Lethal taps. Again, just a decent match. I like the fact it was kind of just building Jungle Boy back up after his
squash.
So he basically got destroyed at All Out, didn't he? So they're just slowly building him back up. So yes, Jay Lethal was just someone to beat, really.
He is, and Jay Lethal is just I don't know. I'm just not into Jay Lethal at all. I just got no interest in seeing him. But I guess he's doing his role as this mid card heel. But again, he's just got a group of people around a bit. Like so many people have got factions. It's just gets a bit much. But anyway, let's move on. We had a weird backstage thing with Ethan Page taking out some guy with a pizza.
Yeah, so that
I
was
don't know what this was
he's
all
some
about.
like local indie wrestler with a weird pizza gimmick. I've seen clips of him online since, and so they just did that for like a little cheap pop, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know what was going on. Why is he taking out a pizza?
No, I didn't really know until afterwards.
And now he's got a match against Danhausen on Rampage.
Yeah.
After this, then we saw Matt Hardy. Haven't seen him for a while.
I didn't even write this down, but yeah,
he challenged Darby Allin to match on Rampage. That's another match on Rampage there.
I mean, they've had matches before. I think
that again, that match just seems why they're doing it, but they're doing it. Powerhouse Hobbs come out and got a dominant victory again.
Incredibly quick. It was like a blink and you'll miss it. Victory here. And then he started doing a promo. We want Ricky chance. Ricky starts to come through the crowd, which was cool.
Yeah.
And then
it looks like that feud's continuing, isn't it? They're not.
Well, I think it had to after the way Starks lost. I didn't think they'd just move on because Starks just getting like destroyed like that.
Yeah, it's like
is not great.
Isn't it? But yeah, like a little brawl and pull apart here, and yeah, again. But I guess that's just gonna be a TV match because the next pay per view is probably 8 miles away, isn't it? So
yeah, I think they'll do it. It might do it on a special edition Grand Slam or whatever, like one of those.
That's next week, isn't it? Grand Slam.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. So maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
we might add it to the card yet. Who knows?
Yeah, they could. We got a impromptu AEW World. Well, maybe not impromptu, but I didn't know it was happening. AEW World Tag Team Title match. Quite a good promo as well from Death Triangle before. Basically, we're the most dominant faction, and it's hard to argue when they've got all those belts around them with Pac with 2 belts, and then the trios champs. So it kind of made sense that they would go after the tag team titles there. So this did make sense to me, this match. And again, another really good tag team match.
This was a great match.
Against Swerve and Lee, yeah.
There was a Canadian Destroyer on Keith.
That was mental, that was.
Yeah, there was this obviously 4 great wrestlers, tag title match, fun match in the middle of the show. Can't really go wrong with that, to be honest. No. Not a lot else to say. A lot of the stuff on this show, I've not got a lot else to say about it because it didn't handle into anything crazy, but it was just good wrestling on this show, wasn't there?
It was. This was just your kind of standard run-of-the-mill show with not too many talking points out of it. After this match, we had the Acclaimed rundown. Didn't cut a rap.
No.
Max Caster saying, "Stop my music." I was like, "Oh, that's 2 weeks in a row now. He's not rapped."
He just cut a promo more than a rap here.
Yeah, cut a promo, and that is set for next week. I think on Grand Slam.
Yeah, well, I think
I'm sure the Acclaimed are going to win the belts.
Yeah, finally win the titles. I think here.
Yeah, definitely needed. And then again, we got another backstage promo with Death Triangle, and Orange Cassidy took out Pac. See that?
Yeah.
Delivered a Superman punch, and then and I can't remember what he said to him, but he said something to him, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah. He just took him out, didn't he? He obviously wants that title.
Just
he made that clear when he won it.
Weird behaviour from the babyface to just.
I know, yeah. I guess it's because they've had an ongoing feud for like years, so they kind of taken shots at each other over time. I guess that's why. But yeah, it is a weird babyface behaviour in a way.
Yeah,
especially from Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but I don't mind it when Orange Cassidy gets more serious. So
no, well, I guess that's it, isn't it? We probably moan that he's too jokey. I'm not against him being serious. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
We then got a tag team match: Toni Storm and Athena v Serena Deeb and Britt Baker. Really random this match. It felt like a bit of an unnecessary tag team match, but I guess this is their women's match spot. They have to have something in it. Not much on this one.
No, not really. I mean, again, the match is okay, but it feels again it's the same kind of women wrestling each other in some sort of form.
And don't we have a fatal 4-way again?
Yeah,
for the title.
Do, yeah. It's
very
so
repetitive.
Lazy. They're so lazy with the women's booking. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
The
only interesting bit of it is it's these 4 women.
Is it these 4?
Yeah,
Britt Baker's in it again.
Yeah, so it's literally these 4 women. But the only interesting bit of it, dynamic here, is Jamie Hayter, really, who Did get a pop from the crowd when she come out. Came to take the chair away from Britt, but then hit Toni Storm with it herself, but then kind of warned Britt. Off. So it's just like slowly building.
When she hit Toni Storm, I was like, do not go back with
no.
Britt. Like you need to. I said last week, you need to happen now.
Yeah, they need to move it on.
Britt Baker, get Toni Storm in a feud with, whether it's with Serena Deeb, I don't care who they feud her with, just get her in a proper feud for the title and move Britt Baker away from it. And again, I thought Athena was moving towards Cargill, but now she's in a world title fatal 4-way. I mean, I assume Toni Storm wins next week, but who knows what they'll do with that one. But yes, I think the word used, lazy, is bang on.
Yeah, it's just really lazy with the women. And again, these 4 women best being in the match next week is like, it's just not interesting, unfortunately.
No. And then we move on to the main event. Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson. The second semi-final. What did you make of this match? Considering we saw it all out.
Yeah, it was a repeat from All Out, but that's fine when it's two big stars.
Yeah.
This match was pretty good. Again, I haven't got tons of notes on this. I think I was just watching the wrestling, enjoying it, and just like, not really saying much else.
This show, it was mainly wrestling and not much storytelling. It was just wrestling, which is fine, good wrestling
sometimes. And this was a good match. Loads of good counters, near falls. There's a good bit where Jericho did a code breaker, then Daniels hit the psycho knees just like straight afterwards. And I like the fact there wasn't really much interference in this one. We moaned earlier about the Ty Conti one. Here they kind of kept it between Bryan and Jericho, which I liked. And also, obviously, Jericho won it All Out, which was interesting. Unexpected, I thought. A bit strange, actually.
Yeah.
But Bryan got the win here, which I did think would happen. They're not going to have Jericho beat Bryan twice. But that also means that, you could get a third match down the line between them. And obviously it means that you get Bryan v. Mox next week, which is two members of the Blackpool Combat Club. Mox comes down afterwards. They shake hands, as you'd expect. Respect between them. It's just going to be really interesting to see where this goes.
Yes, I think they can go either way with the belt here. I think if they put it on, out of these two is fine. Personally, I'd put it on Danielson, but I think
I would purely because I think Mox has had 2 short reigns already, and I just think putting him on a third. No, well, actually, the first reign wasn't short, was it? It was fine.
Yeah.
But the second reign, was short, and then you put it back on Punk, and I just think, just put it on Bryan, who hasn't actually had it.
Fairly reliable guy. He's not
and then
kick off.
But the thing is, they've really been teasing MJF versus Moxley, haven't they?
They have, yeah.
So it makes more sense for Mox to win, but you could do a swerve and have Bryan win, and then do a MJF Bryan feud instead. Which would be a waste of MJF's great promos where he's calling them worthless drunk and stuff earlier on the show.
Yeah.
But even so, I'd still it's weird. I don't know which way you go.
Yeah,
really.
I guess it's interesting. There's not an obvious one. And this match will be great next week. I mean, main event is going to be really good match. And then did we get Daniel Garcia at the end of this match? Yeah.
He was watching on a screen.
He was watching, yeah.
And basically taking it all in and enjoying it.
But this is another one though. They can tease, but there's not much development of the story. It's just the same teasing every week of Daniel Garcia leaving and joining Danielson, and just needs to do it. Also, again, I'm all for stories being prolonged. I'm actually for it in general, but the story needs to progress week on week. You can't just keep it at the same level for weeks and weeks and weeks, which is I think what AEW do too much with stories. And this Garcia one feels a bit prolonged now. I just want to see it happen. I feel like it should have happened after he won the Ring of Honor Pure title. That should have been the moment where he just took out Jericho after the match or something and just went mental, or turned proper face. But he's getting there, isn't he? But he's not quite fully turned. But he's getting there. But yeah, good show. Like I say, good to bookend it with the 2 big matches.
And I feel like you've got the big shows obviously coming up next week with the Grand Slam. The title match is going to happen there. You've got other big matches on the card. You've even got Hook, and then you even got a bigger Rampage as well with Hook and Action Bronson tagging and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So this was a bit more of a build show, wrestling show to set up the matches for the main, not the pay-per-view, but like the special show, if you like. So I thought it did a good job for what it was. But yeah, that's all I sort of got really said, but it's quite a short AEW pod compared to WWE one. But I feel like we've been talking so long, I haven't got the will to go into as much detail as
also, it's just wrestling, no story really.
Well,
it's just
my
good
notes
wrestling.
my notes are fairly short on most of this show.
Yeah.
And I didn't really do anything for other than MJF promo. I haven't really written any promo notes down. It's just matches. And there's only so much I can say about matches, really.
Nothing spectacular happened on this show.
No.
Nothing. It was just a standard show. It was a good show. And again, AW still have a lot of rubbish going on in the background that they need to clear up one way or another. I think we said last week about Punk, and maybe you could hold on for a bit because you don't need to release him right now. But actually, I think a week on, I think just get
I think it's the legal implications.
Get it done. Like you just need.
I think it's the legal implications that hold it back.
Yeah, you just need to.
We need to see whether
as soon as you can.
We're assuming
get him done.
Punk is the solely like sort of legal, guilty party here, but we're not. As outsiders, we're not 100% sure. So I think Tony Khan's probably got to be careful because CM Punk is the type of guy that will sue if he's fired for no reason.
They haven't mentioned him either at all.
No, he's been taken out of the starting credits. He's on there, and so have the Elite, to be fair.
Yeah.
So they're keeping it, and being the Elite got cancelled this week, which never happens.
That's interesting, yeah.
Because obviously they're not allowed. So I think it's due to legalities, and once we find out, suspensions will come up eventually, and the Bucks and that'll be back on TV. CM Punk is obviously injured anyway, so even if his suspension is over, he won't be on TV for a long time. So it's a bit of a different scenario with him. So we won't be seeing him for a long time regardless, but it will be interesting to see how it plays out over the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's bigger things in future weeks for AW, but I think this week was a routine, run-of-the-mill, standard week for AW. And I think they what they needed, considering how last week was. So
yeah,
I think it's a good week for AW in general.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we'll call it a day there then.
Yep.
So like you said at the start, follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. Like and subscribe, leave any comments you want on this if you're watching on YouTube, or check out the podcast as well if you prefer audio content. I sometimes prefer just to listen rather than to watch, but it depends on what mood I'm in, but and who it is and whatever. But check us out on there as well. We're on all the podcast platforms. That's it for this week, and no pay-per-views or anything this week coming up, luckily, so we've got a bit of a break, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, see you guys.